Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Technophile Real Talk. So, guys, let me start over because I totally forgot what I was about to say. All right.
So unlike you.
Yeah.
I can never get started. I never get started.
I know.
Like,
I hate
can't.
that. I hate that too. I always kind of struggled. What's the opening?
Once I'm rolling, it's great. Yeah. Just don't sweat it.
You know what? You guys make me feel good about it. You know what? Screw it. We're just going to keep on rolling here, kids. Because you know what?
Because this is the real. Oh, yeah. I said it. The real stuff.
Okay.
I know.
This is going to be one of those like rule following. Maybe you guys need an upgrade to.
Yeah, very good. Oh, nice plug.
Could be.
Very nice. Yeah, I do need just a little chip that keeps me down.
This is Technophile Real Talk. Thank you to this episode's sponsor, Checkpoint Software.
Oh, gosh. Well, hey, Paul, Gerry, thanks for joining today. So, you know, what I love about this movie that we're reviewing is the fact that I actually have never seen it. You guys apparently have, which is funny. So it's such an ongoing theme. I think I never see half the movies that we review here, but that's a good thing because I love the fact that it's a general reaction. And then also just revisiting some good, fun memories. So like we did Weird Science. I hadn't seen that movie in like 20, 30 years. So it felt like a new movie all over again in some ways. So have you guys seen Upgrade recently?
Yes.
Yeah. I went ahead and rewatched it just because I had the romantic memories of what it was all about. And then I had the revisit. And we'll talk about it, I'm sure. But some of the things I saw.
Same here. I watched it, and then after I watched it, I was telling my wife about it. She's like, "We saw that movie." I go, "Damn, I knew it. I knew it sounded familiar."
Oh my gosh! Because you know what's so funny about that? That tells you how good a movie is. You're like, "Oh, I guess I saw that already." So, so let's be brutally honest. This is not a Matrix. This is not a memorable movie for the record books. Is that correct, Gerry? You mentioned that.
Yeah. I would say there were a few Matrix-like movements that almost made me chuckle. But yes, this is not that level.
That's funny.
I would agree with that. But as we get into this, there's some stuff in this movie that it may not happen tomorrow, but I do believe that some of the things in this movie could happen in the future. Don't know when, but get you thinking about it for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, look, we're all in technology in some capacity. Paul, you're on the sales side of things. Gerry, you're actually in the administration and the business side of it, right? So this will be really, your two perspectives are really going to be interesting because, just because salespeople like me and Paul, we're always selling vision and we're always answering business value. And here you are, Gerry. You ran a huge, massive, IT organization that I would love to hear you call us BS on this vision. So are you guys ready for the first clip of Upgrade?
I am. I am. I got it teed up. You go.
Yeah, me too.
All right, guys, here we go.
We're going a little too fast. This is not supposed to be.
I remember thinking she's so hot.
Yeah, she was. They were actually about to have sex in the car.
And the fact that he saved her by clipping her in, man, I was like, I totally dug the way the screen on top of the car, showed his body and then the grids on the. It's very cool.
Huh. Well, I mean, hey, let's make notation. That's a self-driving car. That's an autonomous vehicle, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
There has been an accident. Please remain seated until further instructions. Emergency services.
Okay, so we've got an AI that recognized that there was a car crash.
Yep.
So
totally believable.
Was this car hijacked to take him to this spot?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. This nefarious group has an interest in them in some way at this point.
We don't find that out till later in the movie.
Yeah.
Like what they were doing.
First, they look like they're there to help them. We're here to help you.
Are you really dragging him that way?
Yeah.
Back up!
Stay right there, Clyde.
We're on TV.
Yeah, here come the drones.
Yeah, that's it. And I think this is something that's going to be able to be done.
I totally agree.
Covering the whole city. That's going to happen.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
She's going to figure out something to do with the airspace, but other than that.
guns, okay? You can have it all. Thanks for your permission.
Oh, yeah.
Fast.
He said a cuss word. I heard it.
It'll get bleeped out.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know what I think is interesting and unrealistic is they just flipped a car and they made her stand up immediately. Like, if she's
like she's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
Me either.
And it's like almost like this guy didn't want to do anything to the dude, and the other dude's like merciless, and he just goes over and
Well, what's interesting about this one is you think he's dead.
Yeah,
but he's
I
not.
thought he was. Yeah,
Yeah. That was a gun to sever his spine, I think.
yeah,
Gerry.
exactly.
Oh,
But
it was a specified gun?
Yeah, it
It
was
was
more,
some kind of
some kind of a weapon.
spec
I don't
gun.
know what you call
Yeah.
it, a gun. But she's a goner.
Get him ready.
Oh, wow. Well, that was like a shotgun he like went through her
Yeah.
stomach. So yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, you'll
fast.
see more of that later. It was I don't remember. Yeah, it's
Do you? So is this set in the future or is this set in the present time?
future.
Okay.
It's got to be the future, I would
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, they're not far in the future based on what we all know today, but at 2018 I thought, really?
Yeah.
Oh, and,
How
do think
late
a
the
lot of-
cops get there is pretty real.
Yeah.
Exactly. So everything happened, and all the bad guys are gone already.
That's right. But the drones are still there, and
Yeah.
they're both. I thought they were both like toast. You know, I didn't quite know what was going on with the term upgrade. I knew it was some sort of robot thing, but I just didn't know.
All right. So that was that the opening scene?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, my
maybe
God.
maybe a second or two earlier before they jumped into the car.
Well, because they were about to
But-
make out, whatever. As you
Yeah,
guys said, right?
they were
Okay.
they had already met for the day, maybe the start of the day, and he was going to get a ride to work. I can't remember exactly how it all, but then what you see is in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Okay, let's talk about what the stuff that is like, oh my gosh, if this movie is supposed to be set in the future, how
Yeah.
much of the technology that we just saw is today? So the
Well,
drone.
Well, the
drone,
drones for sure.
self-driving car, to the extent that you'd feel so comfortable that you would have already jumped in the back seat to take care of some business, was a little bit far-fetched. I mean, I know people have gotten killed in today's day and age with that. But I just think the way they portrayed it, it was like the norm. Oh, let's just put it on autopilot. And later you realize why she feels so comfortable with that. I don't want to be a spoiler this early on in the conversation.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Gerry. So I think aspects of this are in the near future, but not as close as the technology in this is. Who knows when? It could be 20 years, 30 years. But we already have autonomous vehicles.
Sure.
But that one is way sci-fi, where it's almost like you got real brains driving this car versus just sensors and all that type stuff.
Yeah,
Okay, so
very
one thing
much. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, what struck me about this, though, is the fact that, yes, okay, the autonomous vehicle exists. We know this. We've seen it on the road, right? What got me, though, was the fact that when I asked earlier was this wasn't their planned destination. It got hacked. It got hijacked to send them to this spot to get whatever happened. So
Accosted.
So here's what gets me is like, oh, interesting. Even, in this future, there's big cybersecurity concerns
Yeah.
For
about
sure.
how that happened, right?
No question. The car was hijacked. They were on their way home, actually.
Yeah.
And it got hijacked, and they couldn't change it. They were sitting there trying to, where are we going? What are we doing? And then they ended up going.
Yeah,
getting in
this
a
is
crash.
not going the right way. Where are you taking me? But I do think, and again, at the risk of getting into anything, there has been a very recent horrible occurrence where the most popular designer of autonomous vehicles was able to piece together the movements of an entire country length move by a nefarious character. And it gives you reason to believe that at any given point in time, if you know where they've been, you probably could have been following them real time, and also could arguably be with the right true machine learned neural device in the vehicle, it could be taken over by somebody who wanted to. And so that is not that big a stretch for me. And it is the kind of thing that makes me go, man, my kids have got it. They got to get ready for this.
Ooh.
Yeah, 100%. And then it gets down to, getting, not to get political, but how much is Big Brother going to have this information?
That's right.
Right.
All of it.
Get people they're going to have drones everywhere. You're going to have autonomous cars feeding data back to somewhere. I mean, your whole life is going to be cataloged. Right?
Yeah. Well, of course, Apple's cars will not be able to be turned over to the government. And I guess Tesla's will be.
Why is that?
If you've been involved in any of the cyber investigations that have gone on where devices that were discovered to have been Apple owned, the potential defendant was protected by Apple's rights, whereas Tesla is much more conservative and felt if in the interest of general population getting helped with information, they were freely making it available in an effort to catch the criminal. So in one case, you have a criminal that carries an iPhone and Apple won't let it be hacked. And the other hand, you have this car where a criminal needed to be tracked, and the company said, here's all the information we have, go get the bad guy.
Yeah. No, you see that in the news, Gerry, all the time about, they get a criminal's phone and Apple will not help hacking the phone.
I think it's going to change.
I hope so.
I think I say that because, well, everything's been boomeranging. We haven't swung all the way back to the middle, but it's, I feel it. And I think it's for the reasons that I like these kind of capabilities is for the very reason that at the end of the day, if it's going to hurt your people, it needs to be prioritized for the greater good. And I'll get off. That's not political. That's just my heart.
Yeah, no,
we're not a political show, everyone. Be very clear, audience. So don't even go there.
Okay,
yeah, I agree with you, Gerry. I mean, you can bring politics into all these things if you want to, but to me, if this can help humankind in a positive way, I'm all for it. And that's kind of a generic statement. But
no, it's good. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. I mean, think about, Gerry, you're old enough to remember when we were growing up.
Don't say that. That's not
no cell phones, no computers, no email.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were young, when I started out my sales career, we didn't even have fax machines.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the advent of caller ID and no more girlfriends cheating on you. Did I say that again?
Louise. Oh, God, you guys. Well, hey, I would say this, though. Okay, going back to the scene, the drones. I mean, if you wanted, those drones were for police, maintenance, city maintenance monitoring. But could you argue that if there's drone technology in this universe, as well in this current human IRL in real life universe, could you theoretically put a drone and follow a spouse? Is there some privacy laws about that? You guys, what are your thoughts on that?
It's going to be related to all the other things you give. So if you give into a wearable, you're having a MAC address or an IP address. If you are identified as a nefarious character and you've got an implant because the government decided to put an implant in you because you're a fugitive, they can track you. So in the reality today, if all that was in place, in comes the drone, and the drone's going to say, there's 6 nefarious characters, kill them all. Or they're all under some sort of, subpoena and shut down their system so they can't function. Because what you saw in that video was close to what they can do now. They know exactly where it is. They know the size and weight of the person. They know their age, sex, color, whatever. You could see the profile screens popping up around them. Well, arguably with decisions that will be made in the next 5 to 10 years, if not sooner, this is going to be trackable, traceable for the greater good. Yeah. And also potentially infringing on people.
Yeah. Theoretically. one thing about the drones that I see absolutely 100% coming is patrolling. Like you have a big city, right? And you have drones just going up and down every street in the city. I don't know how many you'd need to, blanket a city, but if you look at those scenes, I mean, these drones were following this car. I mean, it started recording faces and doing facial recognition. I mean, that's not that far off, Jerry.
They're already doing it now. They're doing it now in China for sure. I think they say England. I think they said is one of the most like video.
Really?
Like,
yeah, they bought in early.
Yeah,
Really?
they've got video
Way
surveillance
early.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Now the question is the quality of the video surveillance recorded, but that's a different
Yeah.
issue.
And now, then I'm sure, and I don't know this for a fact, Jerry, but now we get into the legal aspects of it. Will people start suing for privacy issues, right?
Sure.
You know how that's going to go, right?
Litigation is not dying. It's just, again, I don't want the police state. I do want there to be a measure. It's just like everything, the whole AI argument. The reality is, and this is unless somebody stops the entire world of, quantum computing readiness, we're going to have so much power to do so many things that we could never do mathematically in a real time, horizon. The sad part is there's two groups that have a lot of money to do it. The federal government of the U.S., China, of course, Russia, arguably, but they also have an equal number of oligarchs and bad doers and nation states that are well-funded, that are building the same quantum capability to reverse and undo every damn good thing we do.
Yeah.
See, I said damn.
And you make some good points about all these, like the Russias and Chinas of the world. Unfortunately, we've got to keep up with those guys.
That's right.
Right. I mean, we have to. Whether good, bad, or indifferent, we can't let them get ahead of it.
Not at all. I mean, we're going to stay equal, that's for sure.
Well, you got to put in perspective, you guys, because, as we say the Chinas and the Russias, in their world, they're like, and the US's of the world.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
and the Irans and the North Koreas, I mean, they're out there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a doubt.
But
I do think quantum computing is going to change everything in my lifetime. And I can't believe that we're going to have another big swing in my lifetime that converges the imagination, the real technology, and an affordability, the perfect, that's how autonomous vehicles happened.
Yeah.
We're going to solve battery problems. We're going to I know, sorry, cut us off, Syya. Paul and I are going to spend another hour after this.
No, you're nailing it, Jerry. And that's the whole point of it is the fact that like, I'm obsessed with Westworld HBO version.
Yeah, that's great.
Because we're going down that path. When they said that this was 2050, at first I was like, oh, that seems rather soon. But I think about it. I think about like this one scene that we just had right here where I was like, theoretically speaking, I don't think that's very far off. Because, and then of course there's that argument, commercial technology is vastly different than government technology.
Yes.
Right? So I get the Hollywoodification of it, but I think we're not in this scene as is that you guys have displayed. I don't see that being unrealistic. So
most of it is.
And scale of 1 to 10 from a realistic perspective, again, is the technology there? 10 being, the technology is there. And 1 is, no, this is fantasy. How do you rate this particular scene? Paul, you first.
Go, Paul.
Yeah, I'm going to say like a 7. I mean, it's clearly not there yet, but it's coming. I see this as realistic out of 10, 20, 30, whatever it might be. But this is going to be a reality someday, in my opinion.
Okay.
I wouldn't debate that. I do feel it's a C plus maybe. It's definitely, they did a good job. And I think in terms of where we are right now, I don't give anything a 10 because as soon as I do, it's going to be a 6 because they'll figure out some way to have another leapfrog.
Yeah.
Moore's
no
law.
question. Because, and let's face it, Jerry, the technology in this movie, the end result may be where this is, but the technology may be completely different.
For sure.
right? I mean, because technology always changes. So they may get to this point, but the technology may be different.
The infrastructure underpinning it may be different, which is, we understand that. We saw that, in the, the 1920s movies, right? Like,
Yeah.
I do want to do Metropolis, you guys. If you've not seen that from 1920s,
Yeah, that's a good
I think
one.
that'd be a fun one to go through. Okay, so I'm trying to move us along, kids. Are you ready for the second clip?
Okay.
Oh, look at this Brad Pitt wannabe. Okay, this is...
I don't run this company anymore. I haven't for years. Now I answer to someone. Someone much smarter than I ever could be. He's in your neck. I only did what STEM told me to do.
Oh, I love the fact they called it STEM.
Yeah.
Love that.
Everything was his idea.
Ask him what his wife would want.
What would she want? STEM wanted to be human. So he picked you. Think about it. How did you get here?
We are going to finish the job we started.
STEM made you come here.
Someone paid him. You know what this means, Gray.
To kill me. Because I can build another STEM. I'm the only person in the world who can.
I did pick you. You should be honored. I needed a human body to fully evolve. A rare and pure specimen without computer implants. Like you.
You did all this? Why did you help me find those guys if it just led back to
Where did the speaker come from, people?
I know. Suddenly the STEM took over everything.
Yeah.
He's evolving literally while you're laying here. He's laying there.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So this is kind of like in those movies where the computers take over the world. This is kind of what this is doing. This guy's taking over.
Yeah.
Like,
I kind of love that part. The little whack
jabbed
in
him in the head. I like that.
Yeah.
So he's trying to fight it internally.
No! No!
Okay, so now he's fighting the robot STEM inside of him and all that good stuff. Okay. Yeah, and I'm not going to give away the end because I did see the end of it. I did see that part. Right. So okay. So let us talk about the ethics of implanting a device unwillingly into this guy. Did they sell it to him as like this was a life-saving maneuver for you?
Yes. Yeah, they made him feel that. Again, remember, this guy was a friend of this boy genius that's really not. His girlfriend or wife, I guess, was a competitor in the cyber technology space.
Right.
But this guy had gone and made himself out to be like the end all be all. She would have killed to be like him. So she was a fan. He, the subject of the show that has the implant, forget his name, but he agrees to the procedure to save himself and to give back because he's so distraught from the whole notion of having his back broken by these characters.
Thugs, what little does he know, they're the ones that did it to him.
Yeah.
Right? They set him up.
Okay.
Right.
They made him want this. They made him want to be the body because, of course, somehow or another, he was the perfect specimen. I'm not really exactly sure why they picked him. He's a decent actor and I guess attractive. And but he was the perfect specimen. I would have imagined somebody else more perfect, but
a pure heart is what they're trying to go after. That he was a good human at root, but also perfect in that context of malleable.
Yes.
Because he's a good heart, he's malleable to become. And so, okay. So I think this is really interesting. Okay. Now I understand why you said it wasn't exactly like a Oscar-worthy type movie because that suspension of disbelief, right? Of like suddenly the audio is coming out of everywhere is cracking me up. So real quick,
very Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great comparison.
Very Star Trek. Yeah.
I mean, the reveal of I was never in charge is borderline cliche, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they
Yeah.
also were trying to keep the movie under 3 hours, so they had to throw so much right in that moment to tie everything together. Otherwise, they could have played out all of those things where you would maybe more progressively come, but I was okay with it. I wanted the movie to be over by that point anyway, to be honest with you.
So, but Gerry, what do you think? So, and I think this is not here today, but again, somewhere down the road, reconnecting nerves, right?
Yeah.
That's essentially what they did and implanted that in his body. That would be, if they could ever do that, it would be miraculous. There's so many people that are paralyzed, waist down, neck down, that they could ever find a way to regenerate nerves. Like we're in technology, right?
Just peripheral neuropathy for people with diabetes. I mean, arms and legs that were rendered useless could suddenly be rejuvenated.
Yeah.
Without it being a transplant. We do so much transplanting. It'd be so much cooler if there could just be a module.
I mean, okay, so
a stem cells.
A stem. But that was like a metal device, right? Like that. So
it was a chip. It was a chip.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looked like a regular, 16 or 32-bit chip that once implanted, I don't think we can see that scene, but you sort of saw it for a second. They picked this supposedly optimal entry point, and then the different leads of the chip found its way to neural connections and then sort of embedded itself. It was kind of cool, but far from real.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Gerry, I thought that little chip looked like a centipede to me.
It did a little bit. It looked like it came to life when he first showed it. But when they dropped it in, it sort of, took over. I could imagine, again, I look at motherboards and chipsets and think, we could take a body and put in a socket set that is then neurologically connected to dead sides of the spine, and then drop a chip in and be able to wirelessly or Bluetooth or whatever the technology that's coming in 5 years that's going to be wireless, neural through my brain, whatever, make the body fix itself. It would just be amazing.
Oh, I mean, just to think about the amount of energy that would require to do this type of thing. And then it just keeps me going back to like that ultimate question that I bring it back to Westworld because, I'm a fan, which is
it's hard not to.
How do we look at ourselves as a new species evolving into a half human, half machine? And if so, like at the very end scene there, he's fighting against his machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where do you guys think that would go? Do you think we're heading that direction? Do you think the human species understand this?
I think people would be very concerned about that becoming a reality. I struggled with believing that once the implant happened, that it took so long for the chip to ultimately completely take over this guy. I mean, it seems to me that I would have already, and maybe that's part of selling him into believing and getting everybody pulled in the same room together so the cop could do and the girlfriend could, but that's my view. I don't think that made sense, but
they slow played it a little bit, Gerry.
Yeah.
Now they implanted it. He could start walking. Yeah. And they just over time, they started to get more and more control of him. And that was the goal, right? Was to hijack his whole body. And
there's a real cheesy scene that we probably won't see when he's sitting there right after surgery. I'm talking minutes. And they're asking him can he feel this? Kind of like in the post broken neck stage of an athlete trying to see if he can feel the bottom of his toes. Yep. And he can't. And so the one neurosurgeon's talking to the chipset guy and saying, it's going to be time. We have to, suddenly he can move a finger.
Yeah. You see,
and then he can hold his whole hand up.
Yeah.
And then they go, see if you can walk. And I'm like, holy shit.
Within 30 seconds. Yeah.
See if you can pick your nose. But
slightly impatient.
Bro said the S word again.
No, don't worry about it. Don't
Holy
keep
crud
calling out.
cookies.
Don't worry about. I'll edit you out. Maybe.
Okay.
Who
All
knows?
right. So
But
a
okay.
lot of fun
So,
that one.
well, guys, I know we could keep going, and I know we were trying to like keep things in under wraps for you.
Yeah.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how realistic was this particular scene? 10 being, yeah, we can do it. The technology's there, and 0 is pure fantasy. All right, I'm
Right
gonna go,
now,
Gerry, you first.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 3 just for creativity. It's way ahead of any kind of reality.
Yeah, I'm with you, Gerry, on that. This is to me, this is kind of way out there. I would love to see it happen someday where you can kind of, like we talked, regenerate nerves, regenerate organs, all that stuff. But man, that technology is so far off right now. I don't see. Yeah, I'm in the 2-3 range myself as well.
Yeah, I might have gone 2, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
All right. Again, that whole speaker thing kind of just really threw me off a bit. But okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask overall, because you guys have seen the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is this a movie that you would recommend? And if so, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you describe its realisticness as a storyline in general?
I was entertained.
Okay.
I thought the forearm shotgun mechanism was amusing.
I forgot about that, Gerry.
Oh my God. This guy loaded like he had loaded like 18 rounds of shotgun shells into his forearm.
Right in his forearm, like you have a shotgun where you load. He was loaded, and he was firing.
It became a magazine.
Yeah, and all the cyborgs or whatever they were that had been part of this band, they all had the mechanism pre-installed, and then so I liked it, and I would definitely recommend it because I like all these films. They all have, to your point, measures of reality and fun, and I don't know about that. And at times I laughed. I don't remember if you remember the scene the very first time. Oh God, maybe it was History of the World or something, where the caveman stands up and walks for the first time in the movie. Well, that's what I conjured up in my head when he first stood up and walked across the room. It was almost hilarious.
Yeah.
But there's some real gore in this movie that's semi-appealing in terms of him getting back at the people who killed his girl, and some things that, and I also was left feeling there's going to be a sequel.
Ooh.
But I haven't seen any. It's a long time to go between sequels, but it does have a sequel-esque end to it.
Yeah.
I think they probably intended and hoped for one.
Yeah, I guess they all do to a degree.
Yeah.
Well, before I give you my rating on whether I liked it or not, Gerry, you mentioned the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Where he meets up with his wife.
Yeah.
It looks like they're in another dimension. Did
Yes.
you get that feeling too?
I did too. Yes.
Okay. I that's kind of left it at that. I didn't know what they were trying to do with that, but that was a quick scene, and they really didn't elaborate on where they were.
Well, that's why I left with this feeling like, wait a minute, what's going on here? It wasn't quite, the underworld, but it was, or the underground, but it was good.
It was literally a red pill, blue pill situation.
Yeah,
that was a red pill, blue pill. So without going further, for those that want to watch the movie, you guys.
Okay.
But all right, Paul, you got to give us a final assessment on a scale of 1 to 10. Would you recommend?
Yeah, kind of like I enjoyed it. To me, if a movie keeps your attention, that's a good thing, and it kept my attention. Would I give it a 10? No way. But I'd give it a
Rotten
6.
Tomatoes, 6.
Yeah, I'd give it a
6.5.
I'd give it a 6. I mean, it definitely kept my attention. I watched the whole movie. Some movies you're like, God, this is terrible.
Yeah.
It was some hokey, corny scenes that were like, it wasn't great. The acting wasn't great, but the theme behind it I thought was captivating. I thought to make someone that's paralyzed walk again, and then there was other dynamics to it as well. But,
totally agree.
Awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate your time as always, and you're always welcome to come back because we always have some fun together anyway. So
yeah, this was a blast. Loved
thank
it.
you so much.
All right, Syya, great stuff.
Thank you. So, audience, if you have other recommendations, other movies or TV shows you'd like us to review, and it doesn't always have to be a techie tech movie, but there's got to be some technology in it because that's our background and that's what we react to. Please submit it in the comments below, DM, all that good stuff. Please like and subscribe to Technophile Real Talk. We'll be back for another episode in a couple of weeks. See you later, guys.
See ya.
All right. See ya.